Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis.
Welcome to On the Bluff, a Bluff City Media audio podcast. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Gabe Kuhn and Christian Fowler. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to On the Bluff. I am your host, Christian Fowler, and joining me is not just my good friend, but also my co-host.
Yes, sir.
He is a former Memphis offensive lineman and current Sports 56 radio host, Mr. Gabe Kuhn. What's up, buddy?
What's the word, dude? You doing well?
I'm doing wonderful.
Man, I got a crick in my neck, like so bad.
That's how we're gonna kick this one
No,
off.
I'm serious, man. I slept last night. I almost asked Kenny for one of those, like if he had an airplane pillow to do the show with. Like I'm dead over here, man. My left side of my neck feels like there's a needle in it. I don't even know what's going on with it.
I got a Theragun if you want it.
I got one at home. I haven't used that.
He's a former athlete.
Theraguns, by the way, fire.
He's a former athlete. He probably has 10 of them. Don't you think?
Full body chills every time I use it.
You need one.
Okay, before we get too deep into this, if you can't tell, we are live in studio for the first time. We're not over Zoom this week. What do you think of the setup?
This is beautiful.
Yeah,
dude.
I agree.
We're blessed, man.
Absolutely. I've never gotten to do anything like this really before, so this is freaking awesome. You can't see Kenny, so if you see me and Gabe looking over to our right, it's because that's where Kenny is sitting, is to our right. He refused to have a camera on him for some reason because he's probably got too much going on over there. So no camera for Kenny, but he'll pop in on the audio.
He's too handsome for the camera, man.
He is. He
doesn't want to overwhelm me.
Yeah, he would take too many viewers away and distract everyone.
But you will hear Kenny because Kenny can give us little updates, right? Like he's over there. He's got his little nook. He's all cooked up over there. He's got, like, if we need stats, if we want to pull up a video that we want to watch live, he's got it hooked up for us.
Mm-hmm. I'm your guys over here, man. I know you can't see me, but I'm over here. I'm the voice from the sky, baby.
The voice from the
my dog.
The voice from the sky. So he is our Jamie of the Joe Rogan podcast, as you said.
Yes.
So he can give us all the updates. He's going to make us look smarter than we really are. He's going to make us sound better than we really do, and he's going to make us look better than we really do.
Shout out.
So that's what Kenny does. Anyway, so for the first episode live in studio, we're going to kick it off by talking about Memphis's win over Little Rock on Tuesday night. Just quickly, what did you think of the game?
Sloppy as hell.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. But it's always nice to be unbelievably sloppy. 15 turnovers. Alex Lomax got to his turnover. We had 5, but he tried to get 5 steals back. So he still played hard, but it's always nice to have that type of sloppy game and still win by 16.
Yeah.
Right? But you follow up that Ole Miss game with a slopper, a slugger like that, and it's just kind of it's sort of Jekyll and Hyde to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But overall, 17-point win heading into what is a dangerous but also potentially resume-building part of your schedule.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with you. And I think coming off of that Ole Miss win might have had something to do with it. You know, we hear about that a lot, how you have like this high emotional game where even though Ole Miss isn't one of the top 30, 40 teams in the country, it's still like a rivalry game. It has been since Penny got here and kind of renewed that rivalry, and they've played it every year since he's been here. So coming off of that to UALR, a game, I think they were favored by 28.5.
Yeah. They can get there, but it's a big number. Dude.
Right, that is a big number.
If you took minus 28.5, whatever the Tennessee red line is that they give out on radio shows, you need it.
You might be looking through some blue lenses also.
Yeah,
if you're taking by 28.5.
For sure.
So it wasn't a pretty performance. Still put up, 87 points?
87-71 final score.
Yeah.
Solid.
It is a little bit disappointing to let UALR score 71 points, though, don't you think?
Right. But I thought defensively in the first half they were locked in, man. UALR, well, they're not UALR, by the way. They're Little Rock now. Even though they still have ualr.edu as their site, but I got corrected like 15 times this week by Little Rock folks. It's just Little Rock.
It's just LR.
That's what I don't know if it's LR, my brother. I think it's just Little Rock, but it is what it is.
All I can think about was the other guys. You ever seen that?
No.
Come on, never mind.
Oh, Christineth? Is that what you're talking about?
Always keep LRB in here. Little River Band.
Oh, yes.
Got 5 discs in there all the time.
Fantastic. That's a great reference. Shout out Will Ferrell. But
Yeah.
anyways, I thought that the Tigers did a good job locking down in the first half. Helped them to 0 for 12 from the three-point line to start the game. And overall, the Tigers offensively didn't have their best night, but they got some help from pieces that haven't been as consistent. Jaden Hardaway, 16.7 for 9 shooting.
Career high.
And to be honest with you, man, like what he's done on the defensive end, helping lock in that first group, and offensively he just plays within himself. I really appreciate that. Like that has been throughout his career. It gets better year to year, and we're sort of seeing that pay dividends now. And Keontae Kennedy, I thought, had his best game in a Tiger uniform. Like, truthfully, in the end of the day, a lot more consistent on the offensive end, knocked down a couple threes. He got his wits about him. Know who didn't keep their wits, though, in the grand scheme that they really need to lock in going forward. Kendric Davis, man, what was that?
Little
headbutt action.
Headbutt.
I'm glad he's not suspended, though. I mean,
yeah, that would have been huge for that Auburn game.
Almost like if he would have been out, that's sort of death nail. You need that guy on the floor.
Yeah, you have to have him, especially to beat a top caliber team. You have to have Kendric Davis. So that would have been massive. So luckily he is available fully for that game. Will not be suspended. Will not miss any time in that game. So that is big. It did get a little chippy though. Like even other than the headbutt, it was kind of a chippy game all night. Kind
of Little Rock's thought process, right? Get under their skin, bother them a little bit, see what you can do, and they got under Kendrick's. And even before that, I mean, we can be honest about the situation. Kendric was not playing well. 3 for 15 from the field. Last 2 games I went looked up because I think he's had a 4-game stretch. It's been kind of rough for him. North Alabama didn't take a lot of shots, so it was fine. But this last 2 games, 7 for 33 from the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
And he's been pretty inefficient this season as far as his shooting percentage. He's had a couple of spike games where it's been better. But for the most part, he's been pretty inefficient. I think he's still been a good obviously a good piece for this team. I'm not saying that by any means. And a good distributor.
The piece, really.
Yeah, the piece. And he's been a great distributor throughout the season regardless. But he's been inefficient at times. And you wonder, is that going to come back to bite at some point?
But he, to me, has unlocked Alex Lomax's potential as a player.
Completely
and it's
agree.
so obvious. Like, Alex Lomax used to have to just set up everything on the offensive end, be the distributor. He turned the ball over because of it. He couldn't get to his spots on the floor and make shots and be an offensive player. Kendric Davis has unlocked that. And you see Alex Lomax, man, I mean, it's unbelievable for me to think that he really is probably the third piece offensively for this team so far.
Yeah.
5 of 9 games he's been in double figures. 4 of the last 5 in double figures. And even in the big games, Ole Miss, Nebraska, Stanford, double figures. We've been asking about this third guy offensively. Thought it's going to be Keontae Kennedy. I think he still could push himself to a higher level and potentially pass Alex Lomax in that pecking order. But Alex Lomax offensively is that third guy right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been impressive. And I think the reason, and you kind of alluded to it, he's not having to think as much.
Yep.
He's just having to go out there and do what he's done in his entire life and play basketball and not have to think about the sets and the plays and calling everything out and being the one. He doesn't have to be the one on the team as far as getting everybody in position, making the passes, and then going and playing his butt off on defense. He's just got to move where he needs to be, hit shots when he needs to hit shots. He can help Kendric Davis distribute, and he can just be who Alex Lomax is.
And the turnovers are down, right?
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing with him is because that sort of came back to bite you consistently in the past. Steals are up. He gets to do all the dirty work too. He's one of the best rebounding guards in the conference, if not the country, at his size, especially. I mean, you're talking about a 5'10" dude that's pulling in a fair amount of rebounds per game. He gets to do that dirty work, and he's getting to his spots on the floor and making shots. And it's been a godsend for this team so far. And I think going forward, you have something. You sort of understand what you're going to get from him. That doesn't mean he's not going to have a stinker offensively. We've already seen him have a couple stinkers. He was in that SLU game, 0 from the field, right? That could still happen. But at the same time, I think he has unlocked something to his game in the 5th year where he hadn't been able to do that consistently throughout his career. And it's been fun to watch. Now, looking forward to these 2 games, Auburn in Atlanta and then at Bama.
Yep.
And then A&M, we can throw that in there. I think realistically beating Ole Miss, like A&M is not what we thought they were coming into the year. That I think the Tigers need to go full mindset, should be favored, go win that game at home.
Yep.
But these next two games, what are your thoughts?
It's a tough road, right? And I mean, I think Bama is better than Auburn. I think Bama will be the biggest test other than Houston that Memphis faces this season. But Auburn is a winnable game. Neutral site. We will see how we'll see how Auburn travels and see how Memphis travels. But neutral site, you're not playing on the road against them. I don't think they're a top 10 team. I think they're 11th right now. I don't think they're really a top 10 team. I think they're solid. I think they're still trying to figure out who they are and figure out their identity on the floor right now. I think Memphis has like a 35% chance to win this game according to Basketball Power Index.
Right.
And against Alabama, they have an 18% chance. Yeah. So it looks like they fare a little bit better against Auburn. And I think they match up well against them because they've got some guys that can go score, but what has Memphis done every year since Penny Hardaway has been here? They went and shut those guys down. Guys like Kendric Davis at SMU, who they knew was the number one, they had the answer to that. And so it'll be interesting to see if they can slow Auburn down, make them uncomfortable, and play more efficiently offensively, and go out there and beat a top 12 team early in the season.
And obviously 2 quad one opportunities coming up in a row. Auburn, I agree with you, man. Like I have not been impressed. Undefeated team, but at the same time, like they have not done anything to just really wow me yet. Defensively, they're solid. They're a really good offensive rebounding team, which could potentially be a thorn in the Tiger side. We know that defensive rebounding is not necessarily a strong suit. They don't have guys out there that are just hounds. Like Jalen Duren last year, like you could trust him on the defensive glass, right? Auburn, Joni Broom, they have a lot of guys that attack the offensive glass. And the one thing that really gives me hope in that game is you look at KD Johnson, you look at Wendell Green Jr., and you sort of see who they are as players. They're volume shooters. I think that the Tigers have potential to really bother them and make them have inefficient nights. And if they have inefficient nights, heck, the Tigers could be in that game going into the back half of the second half and have a chance to win. Alabama, though, I think it's a different conversation.
That's a tough one.
Because NATO, we already saw them struggle with a team that has that fast pace offensively that shoots a lot of 3 balls in SLU. They had struggle on the road against SLU. Alabama can do that better than SLU.
Right.
This is probably one of the better teams I've seen NATO's have, and it has to do with Brandon Miller. And 19 points a game, 9 rebounds per game, shoots from the outside, gets to the rack. I think he's shooting 47% from 3.
Yeah.
He's going to be a man out there. And I sort of wonder, with what we've seen with DeAndre Williams in his career, can he stay out of foul trouble against a matchup like that? And can he give the Tigers what he's been giving them? And what he's been giving them, points, shooting the ball relatively well, getting to the rim, distributing. He's the guy that has to stay on the floor for them to have any success against Bama. But Auburn, without question, the more winnable game of the two.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing about DeAndre with that Auburn game because, like you said, those are 2 competent defensive teams, very good defensive teams. And I think that game will look more like a slugfest, right? So that game you'll have a lot more defense. I think it should be a pretty low-scoring game,
right? Just
based off of what the teams do and the defenses that they have. Alabama is more, quick, up-tempo. They can run the floor. They can get out in front of you. And with Auburn, I think Memphis slows them down. And we know Memphis's offense, they can move fast, but they can also move slow because they've got a guy like Kendric Davis who can distribute. They've got a big in DeAndre Williams who has been good at moving the ball and distributing this year. Also have Alex Lomax who can move the ball. So I don't think it's a bad idea for them to slow it down at all and just play defense, and whoever gets to 50 or 60 first wins this game.
And I think if they win that game against Auburn, you're playing with house money at that point, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Even in that A&M game when you come back home, if you go, because the thought process for me was 2-2 in this stretch of these 4 SEC games out of 5 that you just played Little Rock, so that's behind you. But if you go 2-2 in these SEC games, I feel like you're in a great spot. Your resume is in a good spot. So if they can somehow get to 2-0, you sort of put yourself in a position where it's not the worst thing in the world if you go to Bama and it's a struggle. It's not the worst thing in the world if you lose at home to A&M, although I think they should win that game. But it's a stretch that is going to be important when you look at the rest of the regular season, because the AAC this year, man, outside of Houston, who's there?
Yeah.
Like, realistically.
Yeah.
Tulane hasn't had Jalen Cook all year. They finally get him back, and he's been sort of heating up a little bit. Jalen Forbes has been solid. That would be my pick to be sort of number 3 outside right now.
Right.
I thought it was going to be Cincinnati. Wes Miller's team hasn't been that good, so you have to take advantage of these opportunities because in conference you're not going to have much.
Yeah, you have 2 quad 1 opportunities in conference.
Yeah.
Both Houston.
Yeah.
And that's it. Other than that, it's bad.
You're SOL, dude.
I think
there's nothing else.
I think the American has 3 teams in the top 100 of net right now. Houston being 1, Memphis being 38, and then it's either Cincinnati or Tulane at 95.
Yeah.
And that's the next closest to Memphis.
Like, you think back to last year, SMU, right?
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Like, horrible.
They're the
Lost to
bottom.
Alcorn State, I believe.
Bad.
Like, they're terrible. No Tim Jankovic anymore. So you got to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves now. You can't wait around because I don't think going into conference play, you do have those 2 against Houston. I don't know if this Memphis team – I'm not saying they can't compete because Kelvin Sampson has consistently shown a lot of respect for Penny Hardaway and the way he gets things done.
Those games are always
it's
a
always
battle.
a thorn in the side, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's hard, right? It's
Yeah.
a lot of defense back and forth, but I just don't know if the Tigers have the offensive firepower to really test Houston this year. It's number 1 team in the country.
Yeah. Could they steal one? Yes. But do you want to rely on stealing one against Houston to boost, going into
get
the
a late
tournament?
NCAA tournament push? No.
You want to take those opportunities now. And I know the game at Bama, that's tough. That is a tough draw, a tough game, but that's what Penny Hardaway and this team wants. So we'll see how they fare in it. But I'm with you. I mean, I think they could, in these 4 SEC games, I think they could realistically go 3-1. Mm-hmm. I think they could definitely beat Auburn. I know they're not the favorites in that game, but I think they could beat Auburn. And as you've mentioned, and I totally agree with, I think they will be favored over A&M at home, and they should win that game.
Yeah.
So if you look at those 4 games, if you pretty much told any Memphis fan, hey, you're going to win 3 out of those 4 games, you would take it. Absolutely.
Yeah, no question. How about a little foosball now?
Little foosball.
Little Serve Pro. Tigers draw Utah State in the Serve Pro First Responders Bowl.
Yeah.
6-6 versus 6-6. Utah State, though, has fallen, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a mighty fall. Mm-hmm. And they've had some quarterback issues. Logan Bonner out for the year. He's done as a collegiate at this point.
Yeah, I feel like he's been playing college football for like 15 years.
Arkansas, we've seen him a lot, though, too, to be
that's
fair.
true.
But they're going to have to do it in different ways. So what do you think about that matchup in particular?
I don't think it brings a lot of excitement.
It's not exciting. It's not.
It's not. I mean, you wish Memphis could get a lower level Power 5 draw for that game, and go prove what they can do, and keep adding to that resume of beating Power 5 schools, because that's something that Memphis has been very proud of over the last 7 or 8 years, and they just don't that opportunity in this bowl game.
I wish it was a lower level Power 5 because I think it's semi lose, and that's, I'm not trying to like crap all over the bowl. I'm glad. It means a lot for my teammates, people that have been in the program for a long time, to extend that bowl streak to 9. Like, that's great, and you love that. But it's kind of a lose in the fact that if you win it, you're supposed to win. You're 10.5-point favorites. If you lose it, oh Lord,
yeah, it's going to be
6-7 losing season. You do nothing to get the fan base behind you.
No, not at all. I mean, you do not want to lose that game. And it sucks to go into a bowl game as a must-win, because usually it's like, no one really cares about the bowl game. Nobody really cares what happens. And I know that sounds weird, but honestly, like, most schools or most fan bases are really like, yeah, we want to win, but it's not like the end of the world if we don't lose, or if we don't win this game.
I feel like if they lose this game, it's obviously
bad.
Ryan's getting another year and the leash is going to be shorter. That's the truth of the matter.
Right.
That's just what it is when you're 6-6, 3-5, 2 years in a row in conference. But losing this, oh Lord,
it's ugly. Like you said, 10.5-point favorites.
People lose their mind
in Dallas. You got to go win this game. You hit the nail perfectly. It's a lose-lose because no one's going to be excited if you go to Dallas and you beat Utah State.
And you beat a backup quarterback. Cooper Legis is going to be the quarterback.
Right.
Calvin Tyler, I think he's a 1,000-yard rusher. They have some dudes on the defensive side of the ball. Utah State has 2 corners that I think have nearly 8 interceptions combined. Like, it's an okay team, but no one cares to hear that. No one wants to hear that. It's just win that game, move to next year. It better be better than 6-6. That's the thought process.
That's it.
behind the fan base right now, and I don't blame. Now I do think there's good news though of what we've been seeing. Like 6-6, 3-5 is tough, and I understand like people can't take the good news with the bad, right? And it's tough from a fan base that is it's passionate about football now since they've seen the heights of the Cotton Bowl and yada yada yada. But there's been good news. I mean, you look at the commitments over this past weekend. You get another one today from R.J. Adams out of the transfer portal to help bolster that offensive line. Like there is some good thing. And Seth Hennigan commits back. Caden Prescorn commits back. There's some good things about what we're seeing at the end of this year. And also the transfer portal, everyone else is losing players.
Yeah.
Everyone else. I looked today. A&M lost 16.
Yeah.
Understood.
Big time guys.
Yes, and we're talking from the number one recruiting class, from 2021 class. Alabama lost 10.
Yeah.
Arkansas lost 11.
Yeah.
Right? So you look at those type of things, and you look at the Tigers and what they've lost to the transfer portal. Not much yet. You lose Josh Hastings, that hurts a little bit.
Right.
I don't think anyone's going to lose sleep over it. You lose, well, who else? David Kemp and Drake Clark. And Drake Clark we knew a long time ago.
Right.
There's a buy-in that you can tell is there still with this team. And that's why I with the bowl game, I don't think they're going to come out flat because they haven't really – maybe against Tulane in that first half they came out flat, but they didn't quit, right?
Right.
The team still has a buy-in to what the coaching staff is selling.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no mass exodus, right?
Right.
Like you're saying, there is no mass exodus, and that is a wonderful sign. Because if, first day 15, 20 guys hit the portal, and I get it if it's lower guys that,
Right.
walk-ons or guys that we're never going to play, but if it's names that and you got 15, 20 guys in the portal, then it's like, okay, so they don't believe in what's going on. Like something is wrong here if 20 of our top 40 guys are leaving the program. And fortunately, you don't have that. You're not seeing a lot of guys leave, and we're seeing a lot of additions come in. I think they have 19 commits so far.
4-star, Carmelo Overton, too.
Yeah, huge get over the weekend.
Best recruiting class right now, according to Rivals, at least.
Number 42 overall, I believe, on Rivals is the highest it's ever been is 47. So there is still momentum. I know a lot of people at least seem like they're out on Silverfield. You never know with fans if it's in the moment or are they actually out. So just kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Regardless, I like passion, dude.
Yeah,
I love passion.
Absolutely. You don't want people just being like, who cares? Like,
right.
At least there's fire behind the program. I'm sure 10, 15 years ago, no one cared. There was no fire. It was just like
when I showed up on campus, dog. What are we talking about? I showed up when it was a 4-8 season. Didn't they win the last 4 games, Kenny? That first year under Fuente, I believe it was the last 4 games. Yeah. And then we had a 3-9 year, the inaugural year of the AAC. It was indifference. It wasn't. No one cared about recruits. No one cared about Harvey Broussard.
Yeah.
Committing to the University of Memphis. Like no one really cared about this type of thing. They didn't
throw a massive party for you when you committed to Memphis.
No, dog,
you didn't get off a charter plane in Memphis.
I was actually a blue shirt, so I was like one of the last dudes in that recruiting class. So I had to pay my first summer, and then I got put on scholarship. I was a 2-star. Folks should have rated me higher. That's all I'm saying. But I was a 2-star, and that's another thing too. Like the Tigers, Fuente, Norvell found guys in the cracks. They knew what they wanted. They had an identity of the guys they wanted to attack in recruiting, and they went for it. I don't know if this staff has fully gotten that yet, and that comes with time because in the end of the day, we can talk about Ryan Silverfield, how he got the job, the continuity factor is why he ended up getting it. He's still coming into his own and trying to learn this thing as he goes. He's never been a college coach before.
Right. No, I completely agree, and I think that is the biggest thing of this offseason for recruiting is finding the mold, finding the guy you want. Like what do you value the most?
Hey, before y'all move on, I got to hear this story. What was it like? When did you find out you got a scholarship?
All right,
you got to tell us the story.
Hopefully, I don't get anybody in trouble.
I love
because I definitely met with Barry Odom super illegally off of my high school campus, but illegally, like, come on, in this day and age, it probably doesn't make a damn.
Yeah.
But I remember I was committed to Southern Illinois Carbondale, believe it or not. I was going to be a Saluki, man. I was going to be a Saluki. Yeah. You know what a Saluki is?
It's a dog, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the dogs that the pharaohs used to have in ancient Egypt. That's the idea. But I was committed there, and I get a call because first of all, my high school coach, he was so bad when it came to recruiting. Guys get recruited. And honestly, I hope he sees this. Yeah. He was terrible when it came to recruiting and trying to get guys out. So I had mail. I had calls that never got returned because I didn't know they were coming in. They're calling my head coach in high school, and I never knew. Yeah. But Memphis had been trying to reach out to me for like 5-6 months. And I finally get a piece of mail, yada, yada, addressed to me from Odom. And I sort of knew they were interested. I didn't know they were going to offer me yet. And then I was training at this place off of my high school grounds. It's called Elite Football Academy in St. Louis. And Barry Odom and Matt Bierman, the head of Elite Football Academy, talked to each other. And what happened basically was they said, "Hey, Gabe, come up here on a Sunday." So I show up there on a Sunday. They do the eye test. He said, "Hey, come on a visit." So I called my recruiting coordinator at SIU. I said, "Can I take an official visit to Memphis?" He said, "No, not if you want to keep your scholarship, if you want to keep your offer." So I was like, "All right, I'll take an unofficial visit, not tell them about it." Didn't tell them a thing. So I go on an unofficial visit, get the blue shirt offer. Rest is history, man. And I pulled away my commitment from SIU 2 days before signing day, and that was the late signing day in February.
Oh, you pulled one of those.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Did I get an earful.
You pulled an Andarius coffee.
Dude.
When Andarius committed.
You should have heard some of the things.
I can't imagine.
That this dude was saying to me, and I'm not going to name names, but you'll never play in front of anyone. You're going to have 2 wins a year, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, bro, get that. I'm making a decision for me. I wanted a D1 offer. I want to play in Division I FBS. And also, dude can bug off. You're wrong. You're way wrong. You couldn't have been, because SIU struggled for 4 years while I was in college, and we 10 wins.
Yeah.
Chance at winning a championship my senior year, won the 3-way championship my freshman year. I mean, most winning class in school history.
What about when you so you said you came in as a blue shirt, but when you got the scholarship, when you paid your way for the summertime and then got that scholarship in the fall, what was that experience? Like, tell us that story.
Honestly, there's not much to tell, Kenny, to be honest. Like, I have my family paid for that first summer, and I just went on it. And obviously, we weren't getting a whole bunch of like cost of attendance and stuff, so it was kind of a small check. It was like on campus was like $380. Something like that. They're getting paid a lot more than that now as far as stipends are concerned. But being on it was nice. I'll tell you that much, because it's just for food and whatever I wanted to do with it. So it was solid. It was solid.
Missed the boat by just a minute on the NIL. That's what sucks.
Oh boy,
could have been getting all them $100 handshakes.
Well, what do you think? Who would have given me an NIL deal?
Oh, dude, Bluff City Media would have given you an NIL deal.
Yes, podcast. Give me my podcast by myself.
We're retroactively giving you an NIL deal
yes,
right
sir.
now.
What do you think 19-year-old Gabe Kuhn would have been like on podcast? Would you have been good, or like radio, whatever?
I wouldn't have been how I am now.
You think?
But I always gave like good, like
you were always also, a good interview.
I was kind of a cornball though. Like I did whatever like if the coach was like 1-0 this week, I'd go in front of the media and they'd ask me, "So what do you want to do this week?" I'd be like, we just really want to run the ball, we want to pound the ball, but ultimate goal 1-0.
Yeah,
ultimate goal.
So you were the coach speak player.
Yeah, I was kind of.
You were like the one that every time they sent out for an interview, they were like, "We know he's going to keep it cool. He's going to keep it cool."
More or less, I wasn't Gabe. Drew Kaiser, and my buddy Drew. Remember, I forget, it was the Houston game in 2018 where he said that they're all ain't nothing good come out of Houston the week of Houston, and then Trayvon Tate, who's from Houston, said they're all a bunch of front runners. Yeah, I wasn't doing that. I 1-0 this week. Next question.
So y'all had an offensive line room full of characters when it came to that.
Sure.
Oh, I know. I'm speaking fact, but you weren't one of them. You were stick in the mud, Gabe Kuhn.
I was a character, but not in front of the media.
That's what I'm saying.
Not in front of the media at all. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Here we are now.
Yeah, but this transfer portal stuff's wild, bro.
It is. Let's get before we get. Well, I do want to talk about the transfer portal. Let's finish talking about recruiting because I want to hit on some of these guys real quick. Before Kenny jumped in asking about your stories, I was talking about what I believe the staff needs to do in this offseason, what the biggest priority is.
O-line.
I mean, I know
Go get some O-line.
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, let me get there. Let me finish the thought first.
Okay.
I think they need to find the guys that they want, the kind of guys that they want that fit their mold, not the recruiting ranking molds, not the other schools' molds. They need to find the Memphis mold. And I think Norvell did that rather quickly here, was able to find the guys that he wanted, knew what he was looking for from a character standpoint, from a talent standpoint. And I'm not saying the staff doesn't, because I believe that Silverfield knows the type of player that he's looking for. I think, like you said, it's trial and error. It takes time to get the finesse of finding players, even if they're lower ranked or wherever they're ranked.
It's like looking in the mirror and saying, what do I want my identity to be?
Yeah.
What do I want it to be? Because I look at, like, just because I know the position, I'll bring up O-line, right? I'll use an example as O-line. Do you want big barreling guys who are going to run a power system, or do you want guys that can get out and they can reach people and they're fast and they're able to get out on screenplays and they're able to run tempo, right? Like, what identity do you want to bring in at each position group?
Yeah.
You look yourself in the mirror, you answer that question, and I think the recruiting will follow. You don't need Memphis, you don't need 4-star guys. They help, sure. Like, you need dudes, but in the end of the day, if you find a 2-star dude that fits perfectly to your system, go for it.
Yeah. It is just a little bit weird when you have a guy like, Matt Dale that's 370 pounds, and then you got, someone like Royce White who came in
I don't
at
know if he's
350,
370, dog.
350.
Matt, sorry, I don't know if you're 370. But he's probably 320, 330.
Oh, really?
Maybe
370 was
350. But no, I mean,
a bigger guy, and then you got somebody like Royce White who came in at like 250. I'm sure he's up to like 280, 290 now, but that just is such a different type of player.
Yeah.
You got big mauling guys that they've been bringing in kind of as guards, and then you've got more of what you would expect from a spread offense, hurry up tempo type at tackle. Yeah. So and that part of that is from old staff, and I get that. But
hell,
it's just,
look at my old O-line, man. Like, look at the O-lines I played. We were tiny.
Yeah.
Our biggest dude was Drew at center.
Right.
He was 6'5", left tackle, 6'3", fast as hell, athletic, Trayvon Tate.
But Drew wasn't like huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, Drew wasn't a big mauler type guy.
He could
Drew
run
was
tempo,
lean and could move.
And he could get out on screens. Dustin Woodard, 6 foot.
Moving.
Tops.
Moving, though.
Saw him the other week. He slimmed down, man.
Has he?
Yeah. Everybody else slims down. I just beefed up, dude.
Did he ever get...
I love food.
I could feel like Dustin never got tired. I feel like Dustin was always just there, just locked in.
Kevin Gates, I don't get tired.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, but Dustin, 6 foot. Me, 6'4". Roger Joseph, or whoever was at the right tackle. Well, he did have good old Chris Roberson there, who was 6'8" for a while. But Roger came in. He's 6'4". We had a tiny O-line, but we got things done.
Right.
We moved guys around. We pass protected. We did what we needed to do.
Yeah.
So it's not about just going and getting stars, the biggest dudes. It's about finding your identity,
fitting that scheme.
with it. And you need to find some out of the transfer portal too, right?
Yeah,
dudes that can help you right this second.
Absolutely. You mentioned them getting a commitment from the transfer portal earlier today. Thoughts on that? You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I believe it's RJ Adams is, I believe, his name. He went to Kentucky. Kentucky committed out of high school. Transferred from there. Had some weird he was in a lawsuit there and had to do other things. Went to Georgia Tech for a year. Coach gets fired. Now he's at the University of Memphis. Guy who could fit in immediately, guard, center. I know they have Jacob Likes, guards, whatever you need him to do. And the interior O-line certainly could help you, right?
Listed at 6'3", 330.
Right. That's fine. Absolutely. Let's roll as long as he can sort of move at the tempo they want. Yeah. And the whole thing, he's a good player in high school. But you need guys now that can come in and make something happen, because if you're the staff, you can't think about – I don't think with the results you've gotten you should be thinking full – yeah, you should think about tomorrow, but you should think about next year. It should be a
top
priority. Next year is not 6 and 6.
Yeah.
So go get guys now
that can contribute immediately. Not guys that's like, maybe in a year or two, this guy's going to be an all-conference type player. Like, no, we need the guys that are going to come in and be the dudes right now. They can start from day one, lock them in. They're there from spring to game 12. That's the guys that you need. Also think secondary should be a bit of a priority. throughout the transfer portal.
Quindell,
losing
massive.
Quindell is big. I mean, that's your defensive leader, your defensive captain, the best player on the team. Like Quindell has been the guy for Memphis for years now and held it down in the back end. And I think they have some talent back there that can contribute, some guys that can come in and have the ability to be the guy from day one. But getting depth there, getting some more quality guys that can compete, because as you know, competition is going to make everybody better. And that sounds cliche and coach speak, but it's true. If you just have
competition breeds champions.
I'm not going to go that far, but if you got 4 guys in the secondary that you know is like, okay, nobody's competing, these 4 guys are starting, you feel like you can take the foot off the gas a little bit. So you need guys to come in and help with that. So I think secondary should be a priority. I think
playmakers too, man.
Playmakers.
Just in general.
Yeah. Running backs, receivers.
running back.
Can I ask y'all a question? Can I ask y'all a question about that? What is, I know they, Ra Thomas picked up a
no
offer.
shot.
They're not going to get Ra.
No shot.
Okay.
Respectfully. And they could. I mean, who knows?
No
Do
shot.
you think there's
Probably
any
not.
chance? I mean, obviously, more than likely he's going to stay P5. Go
Baller.
somewhere.
He's
He's
a
a
baller.
baller.
Yeah.
Do you think the idea that him coming in and being an immediate impact player, like getting as much playing time, as many snaps as he wants on the offensive side of the ball, could be a selling point for Ryan and Memphis?
Yeah,
Like him?
it is a selling point.
But the issue with Ra is he's got that everywhere.
Right. He's the guy at Tennessee. He's the guy at
Ole
Georgia.
Miss.
He's the guy at Ole Miss. Like, wherever Ra goes, he's probably the best receiver on the team from day one.
Yeah.
Like, I know his stats aren't necessarily extremely impressive, but if you watch Mississippi State this year, Ra Thomas was
He's a
hands
difference maker.
down their best receiver.
He's a difference maker.
He wasn't used enough, which is why he's in the portal. But
Hey, they got to be careful there, man.
what?
At Mississippi State?
With losing guys like that?
Well, losing guys like that, you have Zach Arnett, who's young, up-and-coming defensive coordinator who could potentially get attracted by a head coaching job.
Yeah.
You got to keep him. And as much as we talk about Mike Leach and that offense and what he's able to do, spreading it out, air raid, yada, 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 8th in the SEC, man. Like,
In
that's
offense,
not
yeah.
good. That's not good enough to just go win you ball games off top. They've been upheld by that defense, and you're losing guys, and you could potentially lose that D coordinator. You got to be they're playing with fire.
Yeah.
Mike Leach got to be careful.
Ra-Ra's a monster, though. Like, for real, Ra is going to go be the number 1 receiver somewhere and going to be legit.
Yeah,
like, could
for
be
sure.
a first, second-round pick type guy. He's
a
legit.
dude.
I mean, does Memphis have selling points? Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's already literally got offers from some of the best schools in the country. 'Cause
Everywhere.
he's that good.
Hey, don't doubt, dude. Don't doubt. Hey,
I mean,
who knows?
crazier things have happened. I'm
Who
not saying
knows?
it's impossible, but
Yeah.
that dude is.
I think it's unlikely.
I mean,
I think it's unlikely.
as of right now, he's number 1 wide receiver in the transfer
Yeah.
portal.
I think it's very unlikely.
He is the top, maybe skill position.
I saw today, so there's been a bunch of Drake May rumors. He put those to bed. Is it bad that every time I see a dude saying, "Oh, I'm staying on campus. I'm staying where I'm at," the only thing I think, is it bad that I think, "Oh, that check cleared."
No.
Is it
'cause
bad
you're
that I think
probably
that?
right?
Because that's the truth of the
Especially
matter, and I
nowadays.
love it. I love it in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, we got another example of that today with a incoming AAC team in UTSA, keeping Frank Harris as their quarterback.
Yeah, massive.
Huge.
Massive.
Check cleared. Shout out. That's well done by
I don't
people
know. I
behind
really
the
don't.
scenes.
I mean, why would Frank Harris stay at UTSA?
I mean, Drake May, there was a bunch of rumors about him leaving UNC. Phil Longo leaves today.
Yeah.
I mean, for him to stay, that's big for them. That's massive for them.
Yeah.
That transfer portal stuff, man, that thing's spinning, bull.
Crazy. Let's close out on Memphis recruiting real quick, because there is one guy I wanted to hit on before we close that out, and then we can get into whatever you want to. Harvey Broussard committed on Monday. Absolutely love that pickup. Talk about getting playmakers, getting guys that can come in and be immediate difference makers. 6'4", 180 pounds, long strider, can go up and get the ball. Pretty smooth of a route runner for 6'4". That's immediately what I worry about when I see height in high school receivers, is can they run routes, or are they just, they just sending them on 9 routes every time and letting them beat people over the top. But he's pretty smooth route runner, and I think he has the ability to contribute immediately. Not saying that it's, done deal going to happen, but
Open room, man.
Yeah, that's
like realistic. Like Eddie Lewis can. I thought he had some moments. Javon Ivory has his moments. Joe Skates had his moments.
Gabe Rogers.
Rock Taylor's gonna have his moments. Gabe Rogers is
is gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
But he had his
guy.
moments.
Yeah.
But like they have dudes there that haven't fully developed. Why not?
Would
a guy
love
like
to see.
that
I would
immediately.
love to see Rock come along.
And
man.
and he's had his moments.
Right.
Like, but a guy like Harvey Broussard, 6'4", big, strong. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Right. And like true freshman wide receivers, true freshman playmakers can come in and make a difference.
Yeah, it happens every year.
You don't have to gain a whole bunch of weight like you do
No.
in the O-line or D-line room.
Just be skilled.
Be your guy. Go run a route well.
Yeah.
Beat your man.
Catch the ball.
You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So that's a guy I was excited to see that commitment.
Absolutely. I think that's a huge get. Had offers from Arkansas, Florida, K-State. Had some really big Power 5 offers. And we'll see. We'll see if they can hold on to him. Maybe he signs in the early signing period. We'll see. And past that, who knows? This stuff is so
It's shaky. It's a little shaky.
It's a little up in the air
different.
always, isn't it, Kenny?
I think it's pretty clear at this point moving forward that Ryan Silverfield does not have an issue recruiting players.
No,
zero
absolutely
issue.
not.
The big question I think everybody has, and rightfully so, is the in-game management, the game planning, the wins and losses, basically.
Doesn't that come with seasoning, though, right?
I think it does.
Absolutely. It takes time.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I think the biggest thing for this team, I think what changes probably what they've had over the last 2 years, 3 or 4 losses to wins, it's just being able to run the ball and control the clock.
100%.
It's so situational, right? Like you have to have it in those games like that Houston game where you're up and you can control the clock, run the ball, get some of those first downs.
That 4-minute offense where
Exactly.
you're trying to run out clock and churn some. And
it's what Memphis is built off of is running the ball.
2017, 2018, 2019, the explosive plays were there in the run game. And
Right.
it makes a difference because then you can throw the ball, right? Like we know that Seth Hennigan is going to be able to throw. He can throw for 400 yards in a game.
He can sling it.
Right? You need to get that. And I think the running back room is good enough. You could add there. I think you certainly could add. The O-line needs some maybe wholesale changes, maybe leadership changes, the whole 9 yards. We'll see what he does with the staff also in the offseason.
Yeah.
That's sort of a storyline we'll need to follow. But running the ball is just so important to this team. And it's been completely neglected in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And he wants to. I mean, this is an offensive line coach for crying out loud. He wants to run the ball. It just hasn't been there. Like the last 2 years, it's been non-existent for probably 60% of the games.
Right.
When you think that's fair, 50, 60% of the games, it's been pretty non-existent. And it kills this team.
And another thing, and this is the last thing I'll sort of say on this, 6-6, 3-5 in conference last 2 years, and a lot of close games that have come down to the wire. It's not that they're outmatched talent-wise.
No.
It's not that they're not able to compete with these teams. They're in these games. There's 4 out of the 6 losses this year were one-score games. It's about finishing in that moment. And you can't say again this year, we just need to finish. 6-6. You have to go do it because now it's a trend. The trend is set. You have to beat that trend. You have to beat that narrative to get back over top. And we'll see what they sort of draw up and figure out this offseason to go beat that narrative, beat that trend.
Yeah, when I think of like daggers that Memphis has given over the last 5 or 6 years, it seems to always be a running play. It seems to always be late in the third, early in the fourth quarter, Memphis puts the game away with the run. And I think if they have that over these last 2 years, they're not 6-6.
Yep.
I think if they have that threat, they're not in the place that they are now. So I think obviously Ryan Silverfield and the staff know that. He knows they need a run game. It's something that has to be frustrating to a guy that's an offensive line coach that they've struggled to run the ball.
And maybe it's him getting his hands back on that O-line group, man. I've always wondered about that. Like, behind the scenes, how much does he spend with that group? Because I know what the impact he had on my group and the groups after that and what he did in recruiting and O-line circles and what he brought into the University of Memphis. Maybe going into this offseason, get your hands back on that.
Yeah.
See what you can do. See what you can mold, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see. Anything else around the country going on you want to talk about?
Who's won the Heisman?
Stetson Bennett.
You think so?
Heck no, I don't think so. They would totally illegitimize that award.
That's so weak. That's a cop-out.
Cop-out. Just because he's the quarterback for the number one team.
You're like a Stetson hater.
I'm a hater. I am a hater. I'm not.
I like Stetson though.
I don't. I mean, I
in big games, I like him.
Quarterback for the number 1 team in the nation? Come on, man.
But that's a
Was
cop out to me.
that sarcasm?
That's a cop out to me though. Come on,
I'm just
Kenny.
saying, number 1 team in the
20
nation.
touchdowns. The Heisman is an individual award, not a team award. 20 touchdowns.
And Hendon Hooker should have got it over him. Michael Penix, Blake Corum, Drake May. I mean, just keep going down the list.
Throw Bijan Robinson in there over him. Throw Chase Bryce in there over him.
Chase Brown from Illinois.
Chase Brown,
running back.
not Chase Brown.
Chase Bryce actually probably is a better statistical quarterback than him
Probably.
at App State. Probably, even though they're 6'6".
Yeah.
But whatever.
I was definitely thinking Chase Brown. I'm not saying Chase Bryce should be in that.
For real. Like, I just find that hilarious. And I like him.
Who was the 4? Give us the 4.
So it's Max Duggan,
Caleb Williams,
C.J. Stroud, Stetson. I think
Blake Corum.
There's like 15 guys
Jalen
put
Hyatt.
over Stetson. There you go. That's a good one. That's fair.
There's more.
Will Anderson? Would you put Will Anderson over him?
Yes.
There's like a million guys. Obviously,
Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter.
Well, but he was out part of the season.
So?
He came back. Well,
Have you watched him
I
play?
get what you mean.
Imagine having to play against Jalen Carter.
But Stetson is not even the best offensive player on his team.
No.
Brock Bowers is that guy. Like Brock Bowers is the one that sort of helps make those big plays happen.
Hey, someone's got to get him the ball.
Yeah, anybody could get Brock
Kenny
Bowers.
He's trying. Kenny is a Stetson Bennett the fourth. Rush chairman Stetson Bennett the fourth.
Kenny,
stand.
Pull up Stetson Bennett's stats and read them to me. I'm not even gonna
20 TDs to 6 INTs. I know that much.
Yeah, no, I want
about 300 yards a game throwing.
Here we go. Future Heisman winner Stetson Bennett's stats for the year. 3,425 yards passing.
Okay.
11th in the country. Tied for 42nd with 20 touchdowns.
For 42nd.
6 interceptions.
Okay.
86.3 QBR.
Where's that at in the country? Where's the QBR?
Probably not very high.
QBR, that's 6. That's 6.
6.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not terrible. He doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have to make me risky.
Where's
throw.
Hendon Hooker in that? Let me see.
Very high.
Hendon Hooker is better in every statistical
Probably
category.
every single one.
27 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Besides that, he missed.
I think he's second in QBR.
He missed the back half of that South Carolina game though.
3,135 yards.
So he's
missed after he missed the game and a half.
27-2.
27-2.
Yeah.
89.4.
Where's
QBR.
the QBR?
Oh, I forgot he missed that Vandy
Second.
game. He missed the Vandy game completely. He would have shattered. He would have gone
Yeah,
right
exactly.
through Stetson.
All right, what about
And
rushing?
Stetson had another game.
What about his rushing? I want to say 550 and 7.
Let me see.
Probably about 450, my guess.
Maybe. But I think he had 6 or 7 touchdowns.
But
Rushing.
look, think about Drake May though.
He's
dude.
got it.
430. 430 on the year.
Okay.
5 touchdowns. 44 is the long.
Yeah, rolling Stetson.
Completely.
Side by side.
And it's not like he was on a bad team. Tennessee's 7.
Drake May lost 4 games this year, and the ACC championship was awful. Don't get it twisted. And by the way,
I think the
sidebar.
Go ahead.
If my man Dabo would have switched over to Cade Klubnik earlier, they probably would be in the playoff.
But do you remember that he did at one point in the season?
well,
What
he's
game
sorta
was
in
that?
and
What
out.
game was that? There was one game where he benched DJ.
Yeah, I think it was the Syracuse game.
I think you're right.
Syracuse, because it was close.
Benched him for Cade Klubnik.
But it was just he
should
never
have played
went
all
away.
year.
He never went away.
But
they would have been a college football playoff
From
team.
that time when DJ got benched, I think you're right. I think it was the Syracuse game because that's the one that came down to the wire and they ended up. I think Syracuse threw a pick late in the game.
Yeah.
Klubnik should have started from then on out. They should have known that DJ has it physically, but something's wrong.
He's going to land
right now.
somewhere though.
He definitely.
I mean, we'll see if he'll help somebody. I think he is what he is.
He's 6'5", 240.
He is what he is though, man.
Is he though?
I don't know.
We don't know
he
that.
had decent stats this year, so he sort of had a rebound.
Do you not remember
year.
when he came in for Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, he was great.
He was a monster
against Notre Dame. But back to what I was saying, Drake May. Back to this Heisman talk. Drake May, 35-7 TD to INT. I think he's like 3rd in the country in passing yards, and he led his team in rushing.
Yeah.
Like, how does that? I don't care how many. Like, you've lost 4 games and you're in the ACC championship. That should be enough to get you in
It's because of the
there.
way that he closed the season. He was so bad at the end.
It was a struggle.
People are making
people
these
remember.
decisions, and it's recency
And
bias.
that was Stetson. Stetson was recency bias, 4 TDs in the last game of the year.
Exactly. But
Championship week was kind of lame, though.
it was. I wasn't a fan of
Besides Big 12
TCU,
championship.
K-State. Yeah, that was it. Other than that, kind of blah.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
What about Kenny? Can you get the freshman All-American team came out today? Did you see that?
Yeah, I think I saw it briefly. Which site did it? Or
I know 247
it,
had one.
Yeah, was it
College football news.
College football news.
College football news.
Let's,
First team All-American offense, Drake May.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quinshon
Quinshon Judkins.
Judkins.
Dude's a monster.
Richard Reese from Baylor.
You're trying to be like dog. All right.
Let me see.
else you got?
Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, okay. He's 37 years old. Dude, did y'all see that? For real, Kenny, did you see this?
But hold up. If you're going to be a Hendon Hooker
second.
guy, you can't say that
No, I know.
Stetson's old.
I just saw this the other day, and it was hilarious. Stetson Bennett, right, is up for the Heisman right now, as we all know. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman in 2016. They are the same age.
Yep. Right now, they're the same age.
They are the same age. Lamar Jackson has been in the league for, 5 years, 6 years now?
Looking for a new contract,
Yeah. Has already won an MVP.
Dealing with contract negotiations. He had his franchise tag this year.
Yeah, he's
his
trash.
franchise tag year.
I don't know how you say the wide receivers. I don't know how you say this guy's name. Tatario McMillan from Arizona.
I'll
Yeah,
take
he's
your word for
a
it.
monster.
J. Michael Sturdivant from Cal. Tight end Brady Hunt from Ball State.
Now I'm losing.
Yeah. Do you need anybody
no,
else?
Yeah, there was some more bigger names on there. I can't remember. Harold Perkins was on there.
Harold Perkins.
Dude's a monster.
Stud.
Oh man, that guy. I didn't watch much LSU this year. That guy was scary.
Yeah.
But he was another A&M decommit before the year.
Yeah,
and
he
that's how
was.
he ended up at LSU. Man, at this point, does Jimbo do anything good?
No.
Can't
But he
coach
makes
offense.
money.
Well, he
I
makes
mean,
money.
do you think it was? Do you think the football guys got back at him for trashing on Saban before the beginning of the year?
Oh yeah.
For sure.
But also, I think it's his doing. He runs a 2011 offense.
Yeah, he does.
And then he made
he
made my dog. But hold up, he made my dog Dickie fall on the sword for that.
He did.
That's
We know
what
kind of offense coordinator Daryl Dickey is.
Daryl Dickey is. Run your offense, coach.
Yeah.
That's what he does. And he's a good. I think he's a good coach, good motivator.
Yeah.
Does good with running backs. And
And Jimbo
whoever
was
he's
like,
coaching.
this guy.
Well,
Get out.
he had to blame somebody, man. You know how that goes.
Yeah. No, it does.
He don't
But
wanna-
you're right. I mean,
sad.
If you want to run that offense, all right, at least have an elite quarterback.
He hadn't done anything with. He was a quarterback guru before he got
Right.
to A&M and
Has he?
Kellen Mond maybe, but that was half Sumlin, wasn't it?
Kellen Mond was.
That was half Sumlin.
But Kellen Mond would be like here, and then
He's already out of the NFL, so
yeah, he was so bad the Vikings wouldn't even let him play in
Sad,
the
bro.
preseason.
sad.
He hasn't had a good quarterback, and it's not like he hasn't gotten them there. He's just, I don't know, not a Jimbo Fisher fan. At all.
Last quick thing,
All right.
because I know we're running low on time. I feel like the coaching carousel is more interesting than a lot of the on-field stuff right this second. The Coach Prime news. You have Jeff Brom.
You're fired up over that, aren't you?
Jeff Brom off the well, kind of. I grew up a Colorado fan. My
Yeah.
dad went to Colorado, so I grew up a Colorado fan. Those fans love that, man.
Yeah.
Those fans are hype about.
Here we go. Gabe is claiming Colorado now because Dion's there.
Wow.
Unreal, man.
I grew up a
I
Colorado
grew
fan.
up.
You know
Listen,
what?
I grew up in
I've been a-
Mizzou territory
I've
in
been
the
a-
old Big 12.
I've been a Colorado fan my entire life.
I know I'm from St. Louis and lived in Memphis my entire adult life, but
I
I'm
grew up a
huge
Colorado
fan
fan.
of Colorado. Yeah,
Big Buffs guy, Rashawn Salam. That's your guy.
I had a Bobby Purified jersey back in the day. Y'all don't even know who that is.
You're right. I don't.
Y'all aren't even hip, man. I sat through the Dan Hawkins era as a kid.
Okay, moving on.
You
said Jeff Brom to Louisville.
Yeah, Jeff Brom.
That's
to
where he
Louisville.
played, right? Jeff
Yeah,
Brom
that's where
played
he
at Louisville.
played. So Purdue, I think, will be a
Jeff
decent
Brom,
job.
dog.
I think he's a pretty good coach.
He's a dog.
He's a pretty good coach.
You ever hear the stories about him in the old XFL
Oh yeah, I saw the video.
getting crunched? Like
What did you see the video? He's like, "Do I have a pulse?"
exactly.
Yes,
That's what I'm
let's
saying.
play football.
That's what I'm saying. He is a dog. Scott Satterfield. To
Scott
Cincinnati.
Satterfield to Cincinnati. I think that's
Is that
pretty
not
good
a
one.
weird move though?
It is.
Luke Fickell, weird. I thought to Wisconsin in general, but I think that'll work.
That's a
out.
good hire. I mean, that's a good hire for him.
I'm trying to think.
Nebraska,
Nebraska got Matt Rule
which
Your
That's
guy
solid.
over in Arkansas just got Dan. Dan?
or Barry Odom to
Barry
UNLV.
Odom to UNLV.
So I heard it was last week. I could have sworn he was going to get that Tulsa job. They gave it to Kevin Wilson from
Yeah.
Ohio State, who was awful at IU. I don't even know why.
Yeah.
Like that was it's a bad hire by Tulsa, but whatever. But Barry in Las Vegas, man, I don't know why UNLV can't get off the ground. You'd think they'd have some money.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Get something going, but they're a basketball school, I think, overall.
They are.
But even basketball program's not that great
good.
right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You would think they would get something out there. Kenny Dillingham.
Kenny, oh, my dog, yeah.
Arizona State.
Yeah, he won the press conference.
He did win that press conference, though, for real.
Crying.
Kenny Dillingham has been that dude. Like, from Memphis.
Just skyrocket,
to
man.
Auburn. To Oregon, to Florida State, and now head coach at ASU.
We buried the lead here. Hugh
Freeze.
Hugh
Coming to Auburn. He's going to kill it. I know a lot of people don't like Hugh.
Let me say this. Hold up. He'll do good. I think he can get to 10 wins. But there's always that one game a year that he loses.
No,
you're like, what?
Yeah, I don't think.
It was Arkansas when he was at Ole Miss. And Memphis.
Yeah.
Shout out. But he always loses that one game a year where you're like, he can beat Saban. That's cool. But if you turn around and lose to Arkansas, what?
I don't think Saban's shaking in his boots because Hugh Freeze is at
No.
Maybe not yet. I mean, I don't know. We know how much money they pump into Auburn. Like, they're gonna give him the world to go get guys.
They are sitting on a powder keg of NIL money.
Exactly.
But also, people behind the scenes got to get the hell out of the way.
That's what I've heard.
They got to get a little bit out of the way.
Yeah.
I know, and they do
What
a
does
good
that
job.
mean? Tell me what that means.
They do a good job of raising money, so I want to put that out there. But think about all the coups they've had in their football. They tried to get Gus Malzahn out to hire Kevin Steele. What they did to Harsin was not a great coach, but at the end of the day, they went in the offseason and tried to dig up some things about him. They made infidelity rumors, trying to hire or fire him with cause. Like, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that are a little untidy at Auburn. And that's all I'm saying is you have to get along with all those people. You cannot take the head coaching job at Auburn and not be friends
with
all of the boosters and pat them on the back. They make the decisions in the end of the day at that place, and you have to deal with that.
Yeah. Any other interesting one? I think that's
about it.
Alex Golesh left Tennessee.
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Trent Dilfer to UAB incoming. Tom Herman to FAU. So we do have some interesting ones coming into the AAC next year.
AAC's got some good coaches coming in.
Trent Dilfer, I think. Trent Dilfer is going to be to college football kind of what Dan Campbell is to the NFL.
I don't subscribe to the group thought on Trent Dilfer.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like football dude.
Yeah, just hardcore, like nitty gritty football dude.
But I don't subscribe to the group thought. I don't see why he can't be at least mildly successful at UAB.
Breaking news: Dylan Johnson just left Mississippi State.
Ooh, that's a big one. They've lost 2 running backs now: Dylan Johnson and Catravion Hargrove.
Yeah, but
there's been a couple guys that Memphis recruited out of high school that have left.
What I bring up early in this episode, State has got to try to keep this thing together.
Oh my God! Can I read his statement?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Oh. It's that bad? It's that bad? It's that bad?
I'm going to read the whole thing. First and foremost.
It's not like thank you.
First and foremost, I would like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to showcase my talents at a college level. Without him, I am nothing. Secondly, I would like to thank my family and friends for the endless love and support they have shown. Me throughout to Mississippi State University, my teammates, trainers, and amazing fans. Honor. Together, you guys have helped me build my character and skills tremendously. With that being said, since I'm not very tough and Leach is glad I'm leaving.
What? Word?
I will be entering my name into the transfer portal with the hopes of finding a more fit playing environment for me. Ooh. Thank you.
Oh, that is tough.
Oh, Leach hit him with the fat little girlfriend.
Yeah, he
speech, didn't he?
You're not that good anyway.
You're not tough, dude. You're not tough. Good. You're listening to your fat little girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing. Wow. He's good though. He can help.
Memphis recruited.
Damn, man.
Memphis recruited Dylan Johnson out of high school, Catravion Hargrove out of high school, Zach Edwards, who just left Louisville out of high school.
Okay, that's not a normal statement. I'm still stuck on that.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
move
you're
on.
moving on. That's statement.
It's hard for me to move on. That's tough.
I mean, it's
he
very.
said, "Thank you to God. Thank you to my teammates."
Thank you.
Since I'm not tough enough, let me get in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean,
dog.
How many players have been told by coaches like?
But you don't put it out in the public, generally speaking.
Yeah, most people
why
don't, but I mean, I kind of
I kind of
do
respect
your
it
thing,
too.
talk your talk.
My thing is, like, you see, like, coaches a lot of times when they get fired, they profuse praise over the team that fired them, saying thank you. All that is a job interview for the next place. So
Right.
the GMs, the organization's leadership will say, we're going to hire you and you're not going to come out and destroy us if something bad happens.
Right, but it's different. It's different with a player.
Right.
Where it's like,
players got to be pissed off to put that in a statement.
Absolutely.
Saying, I'm getting in the transfer portal. And that makes me think about how Leach is treating dudes behind the scenes, man. He's an older coach. I bet this day and age of football in general and how we go with NIL and transfer, I bet that's hard for him to adjust to.
oh, yeah. He's a bit of a dinosaur.
A little bit.
Like that.
Tad bit.
Because he called all the guys T-Rexes.
T-Rex, what are you talking about?
You didn't hear that interview? Or that post game?
Oh, yeah,
Where he's like, all of our guys are
said,
going to turn into T-Rexes. They won't spread their
Wasn't
arms
that
out.
after a loss, too?
I'm sure, yeah. He's nuts.
He's a little bit.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you're feeling?
I'm all good.
You're all
You got
good.
something?
I don't
Kenny,
think
you
so.
got something?
Kenny, you got anything?
I'm good.
Kenny is good. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us. We are live. We are live. It's awesome. Big shout out to Bluff City Media, Bluff City NIL for putting all this together, allowing us to do this. This is freaking awesome. I know Kenny thinks the same, and obviously we appreciate Kenny for setting all this up and, you know, being the best behind the scenes. What do you think, Gabe? You
Oh, it's fire, dude.
big time.
Hell yeah.
Big time. Gabe's a big fan. So check us out on YouTube. If you're watching the video, that's obviously where you're watching it. Check us out wherever you get your podcast. That's one I already struggle with.
IG. Follow the IG.
Follow the Instagram. We've got an Instagram
On the
account
Bluff
now.
Pod.
On the Bluff Pod. Build that following up a little bit, but I believe that's it. So we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and a comment wherever you download your podcasts. Head over to www.bluffcitynil.com, where you will find comprehensive coverage of Tiger athletics and how you can become a contributor. We'll see you back here next week.